you. Got no clapperboard. Lovely.
Question one is about the scale. So what's the most challenging part of creating scale?
Okay, Robert, the way we're doing this is you're not going to hear my voice. If where possible, you can answer the question with the question.
Okay.
And the question is about scale.
Sure.
What's the most challenging part in terms of creating this giant world?
Well, the most challenging part of creating scale in this show, of course, is that it's a piece of theatre. So it's all it's all in true scale. It's all in real scale. So we are playful with scale. We zoom in and we zoom out. So we represent the giants in a variety of ways, and the scale can shift. So a person can become a giant, and in their hands is another person, or a person can be a person against a giant, and then the giant is realised in a different way. So we're sort of zooming in and zooming out with the scale.
What the audience expect from this particular version? What can audiences expect?
And Robert, what can audiences expect from this particular version of BFG?
Scale. I mean, scale, but as in it's one of the biggest stages in the country. So we're presenting the story in a very large scale. We've got a large cast. It's constantly moving forward. With every resource available to us, we're using music, song, puppetry, acrobatics, and so it's telling the story at a terrific pace and with scale, but also in a very humane and poetic way, hopefully.
Something about the end there. Maybe have you got any particular favourite parts of your design?
Well, actually, almost the simplest thing. These I mean, you probably can't see them in shot, but just hanging just above our heads are paper lanterns, which are what the giant keeps his dreams inside his cave, and they're very simple, but very, very beautiful.
What are you doing here?
Well, this is a chandelier for Buckingham Palace, and we're hanging crystals to it to give us the correct sense of grandeur for Buckingham Palace.
Okay, now 3 words, I think.
Yeah. If you could describe the play in 3 words, very concise words, what would they be?
Big, big friendly giant.
I don't think it helps.
Big, friendly and giant.
Big, friendly and giant-like.
Big, friendly and gigantic. Is that good?
Yeah, we'll just leave it as well. Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cuts. So what was your first thought about creating movement in the BFG?
So my first thought to create a movement for BFG is really after my conversation with Teresa, and we spoke about this. The Assemble is a show which really you have the character of BFG and Sophie, but it's really about the assemble of the whole cast. So it's a show which there's a lot of movement to it, and my job as a movement director was to make sure the whole cast have a very harmony in terms of movement, entrance and exits, and create a different type of movements for each character we develop to the whole process of the piece.
This question is for Frank. How much does the music bring a sense of scale to the giants?
Well, that was something that I spoke about with Teresa. When Giant Country is mentioned, it needs to sound vast. Obviously, we're not going to see full-blown giants on stage. We have to imagine it. So music, lighting, all these things suggest the scale of it. So I've definitely in the first act, when we hear that phrase, Sophie says, "Are there more of you?" and he says, "Of course, this is Giant Country. Look over there." And she looks out across that plain and sees a desert full of giants. I've really tried to pick kind of quite grotesque, dissonant-sounding chords, but also that cinematic scale as well. You can imagine looking out over a big space and seeing big things. I've tried to make the music vast at that point, because actually we're looking into the blackness. we're not seeing them at that point. We're just hearing the sound and looking at nothing. So it's quite suggestive, hopefully.
Good. A question for Jan. How close can I come down with the mic here, Nick? Can I come that far? Lovely, thank you. Can I do that? Okay, lovely. And did you have to develop different choreography for the heroes and the villains?
In terms of develop different type of choreography for heroes and villains, yes. I think each character, because we devised the piece in a kind of way where lots of characters actually, which it doesn't exist in the original text, was created, and I try to make sure we had a language for each of them. In terms of the giants, we try to develop how the actors could explore the movement as vast, as big as they possibly could do, and to have a contrast, because we talking about scale, we have even, we have 3 different types of scale. We have the scale of the evil giants, we have the scale of the BFG, and you have the scale of Sophie. So I try to use the sense of scale in terms of the physicality of each of them as well. So each character has a particular way of movement for each particular scene it's coming across.
Frank, what is your favourite music and dance combination in the show?
My favourite music and dance combination, well, there's quite a lot to choose on. There's a lot of music and dance moments. Whiz popping is it's definitely fun, the finale. But I also love, there's a song in the Blood Bottler's Mouth that was really fun to do, because it's where Sophie's being washed. She's covered in snozzcumber and giant spit, and I love the choreography there, and it was really fun doing the music there. But there's too many moments, really. There's too many moments. I don't want to pick one.
Yeah.
Same question to you.
Yes. In terms of my favorite, yeah, I love the Blood Bottler's Mouth. I think was very, in terms of what Frank brought, so my reaction was, I react to what the music gives to me. So, and I think there's a really happy moments there, which I like it. In terms of when you call numbers, all the whiz popping, Blood Bottler's Mouth, and yeah, the series of great moments. It's quite hard to say which one is. Yeah, I can't really pick up one. I like all.
Yeah, I like them all.
Okay, and if you could sum up the play in 3 words, just 3 words, what would they be?
One, big. That's it. It's big.
Big, big, big.
Big, big, big.
Big, big, big is good, yeah.
Yeah.
Big, big, big is good.
You've got to come up with 3 more. I'm sorry.
3 more. Big, big, big.
Bigger, bigger, bigger.
Bigger,
Bigger
bigger.
and bigger. It's
Bigger,
giant,
even bigger.
giant. It's like
Yeah. It's not
ginormous.
not friendly throughout, though.
Yeah.
What do you think audiences will take away?
I think there'll be, well, it depends on the age, obviously. I think there's something for people of all ages. I know that the kids, the younger kids might be a bit scared in the first half, but hopefully in a way that they'll enjoy, because there's a good balance of silliness and slightly scary stuff and complete,
Magic,
farcical silliness as well. And quite a big range of stuff emotionally, I think, in this production. So I think they'll come away being entertained, fulfilled, and delighted. That's what we hope.
One is, what sort of range of musical styles can people expect from the play?
The range of musical styles in the play is very broad. It goes from jazz to hip hop to musical theatre to classical Baroque music to kind of, I'm trying to think what we've just done now. Like it's just coming out of a rehearsal. There's folk, there's Indian music, there's salsa, there's minimalism, there's all kinds of things in there. There's sort of cinematic stuff as well, like quite hard dissonant stuff. Yeah, it's extremely broad because there's so many different worlds in the story. We've got the giant country, we've got the Buckingham Palace, we've got the BFG's cave, but we've also got Dream Country, and within Dream Country we've got the individual dreams, and they've all got their own world. So we've been able to visit lots of different musical styles in this.
How important is the relationship between choreographer and composer? How do you work together?
Jan and I have worked together many times, so we understand each other very quickly now. So
Yeah, I think in terms of the crucial.
finishing my sentence.
Yeah, crucial. It's like without Frank, like in terms of movement, I could choreograph things in silence, but I think without Frank, it's like he complements the work, you know. So our conversation is crucial to understand what he proposed. And some people disagree, some people agree. There's a lot. There's like
We always find the line.
way
Yeah.
of work together to make sure we bring the best of the actors.
But also equally, like, because we do it spontaneously in the room, a lot of the shaping that Jan will say something that will spin the music off in a different way, and then he'll say, can you make this count different, or can you make it the tempo different, or there's a lot of it's kind of a team effort, really, isn't it?
Totally. And the first time Frank presents something, I'm talking about the numbers like with popping, and he presents the music, and I listen to the music for the first time, and suddenly the thoughts I have, I would develop goals completely different way, because it's like, I love this, I can do this, and then from there we start to have this dialogue of how we can make what we have in mind come alive, and pass through the actors and make actually the scene happen, really.
And of course, in this production, because there's a large ensemble cast, and there's not a huge amount of characters in the play, we have a lot of scenes where the story is told in movement. So, and that's accompanied by sound or music. So there's a lot of music and movement in this.
Thank you. That's
That's right.
Brilliant. Thank you. That was lovely.
Thank you, guys.